Honourable colleagues, we have got our last candidate for the day. Good afternoon, sir. You're Mr. Knowledge Malusi Masilela.
Yes, correct.
You are most welcome. Please feel very comfortable. Please feel relaxed. This is a People's Parliament, so it should be your house, your home. We are the Portfolio Committee of Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities. I'm the chairperson, I'm Liesel van der Merwe. I'm here with members of our Portfolio Committee. They will introduce themselves once they have an opportunity to interact with you. All honourable members will have an opportunity to ask you questions. Just to give you an outline, you'll have about 40 minutes for this interview, which gives you about 3 minutes for an answer to each honourable member. If you're not sure about your timing, you can just look towards my side and I don't have a red card, but I will be giving you an indication. But you are most welcome. We regard this process as a very important process for obvious reasons. South Africa faces a youth unemployment crisis. Therefore, the NYDA is one of the most crucial public entities in South Africa. It has to really make a difference in all the issues young people face in our country. And so we really need leadership that can take the NYDA forward. And so this afternoon we wish to give you an opportunity to firstly tell us a little bit about yourself, where you come from, your experience, and why you are passionate about youth development issues and why you would like to serve on the next NYDA board. Over to you.
Thank you, Chair, and greetings to members of the committee. My name is Melusi Masilela. I'm from Mpumalanga, in a municipality called Nkomazi municipality, rural municipality, in a village called Mangweni. I grew up there, studied there, my primary and high school, and one of the things that made me to be passionate about youth development is the environment that I grew up in, having an interest of wanting it to change for the better. And over the years, I got interested in a variety of youth-related or youth development-related activities. I got engaged in student activism, youth activism, and later I formalized my passion through my foundation, where we're able to help young learners with career guidance and all of that, where I'm a patron. We just formalized it, but we used to do it informally. We just formalized it as through a foundation. And one of the things we do as a foundation is just during December holidays, we gather young people to participate in various sporting codes, because we understand during holidays of December, many people, if are not going on holiday in our villages and townships, they are engaged in social ills. And for about 14 days, we bring them to a soccer tournament, netball, and various other sporting codes that are available in the villages to sort of bring them together and avoid such engaging in social ills. And we've been doing that for the past 4 years now. And we are able to give incentives through donations and all of that from people who are generous. And we've been doing that. And over the past 4 years, through that foundation, we've been able to take kids through lobbying or assisting them to apply bursaries and all of those things. And they were able to be taken into universities, some of whom will be graduating this year in May in about 2 institutions. So those are the things that we're passionate about on a daily basis as it relates to youth development. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much.
No, thank you, Chair. I've got a question, but I think consistent with the clarity that we wanted to ask from the other lady we brought back in, I think it's important that I ask this because I had an engagement with the content research or advisor about it. But then I'll come in at the end for my question so that I don't disrupt the mood. The Parliament tried to find out the matric records and the diploma from the Tshwane University of Technology for my name is Sihlelonzi, Member of Parliament, deployed by the Economic Freedom Fighters. We're happy that you are here, Mr. Malusi Swelo, Knowledge Masilela. And because we struggled to verify, I think it is consistent and correct, as we did with other candidates, to maybe put it to the candidate immediately When did you finish your diploma at the Tshwane University of Technology? When did you complete your diploma in journalism?
I've fully completed it in 2023. 2021. Sorry, my apologies. Yes.
All right, I'll come in at the end then, Chair, because I don't want to abuse, because the CV says you've completed it in 2011, and you are now saying you completed it in 2021.
No, it might have been a typo or error, because the confirmation that I have of the qualification and the graduation thereof is of that particular year I'm indicating.
I'll do my follow-ups at the end, Chair, because there are problems related to that, because Mr. Masilela would have been a senior researcher in Mpumalanga, would have served in boards way before 2021, which would have needed at least a post-matric qualification for him to do that. But let's take the answers as it is. Thank you very much, sir.
But we'll come back to the issue. Baba, you can also come in later, but we'll go over to Ms. Shabango or Ms. Shabango.
Good afternoon, Mr. Masilela. Just breathe. You relax. Smile. You ready?
Yes.
Okay, we'll start with the formal questions. I wanted Chair, okay. Honorable Fisani Shabango, right now they wanted to dismiss me from this committee. I don't know why, but the NYDA is governed by the Act, which was amended in 2024. According to your understanding of the NYDA Act, what is your understanding of the functions of the NYDA in terms of the Act? You can take us through what of your understanding in terms of the NYDA Act. Just Chairperson, your committee is not settled.
Honorable members, please let's allow Honorable Shabango to ask a question.
Maybe I can ask Mr. Masilela if he got the question clearly.
Yes, the NYDA Act.
NYDA Act, and what are the functions of the NYDA in relation to the Act?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Shabang, for the question. I think my comprehension of the NYDA Act would be as it relates to its responsibility to ensure that, amongst other things, it avails itself to the public through having national offices and local offices and provincial office, as it were, so that it's available to the youth of this country for the services, and also to establish economic opportunities and educational opportunities, and provide educational support, and amongst others provide career guidance and educational support in terms of bursaries and all of that through the Solomon Mahlangu Scholarship, which has been part of the program of the NYDA. And I think those are the anchor functions that are encapsulated in the Act as it relates to the mandate of the NYDA.
Honorable Pulwani, thank you.
Thanks, Chair. Mr. Mahlangu, Masilela. My name is Honorable Polwani. Let me go straight to the question. My question is, what strategy would you devise to ensure the agency effectively implement youth development program?
Sorry,
What strategies
yes.
would you devise to ensure the agency effectively implement the youth development programs?
Thank you. I think
Strategies.
Thank you. I think what is important is to first make the agency accessible to all the youth of South Africa and make it efficient. One of the things that we believe that needs to be happening, and already I think the agency has tried to have some sort of MOUs with network providers in the country, which are the major network providers of Vodacom, MTN, that they come and play their corporate social role in ensuring that young people, in terms of uploading their CVs, uploading their requisition for business opportunities, it's done efficiently online at a data-free or zero-rated data. And we believe that that strategy can make a considerable impact and add to the numbers that the portal already has brought access to about 5 million young people through the NYDA. And we believe that by doing that, we can maximize more of that and employ strategies to make sure that NYDA is reachable even in the local areas, in rural areas, working with COGTA, of course, using tribal offices, working with social development in SASA offices, because those are key institutions that are available even in the most remote areas. And we believe that if we use those partnerships with the currently state government entities, such those like I've mentioned, and other private role players, NGOs, and everybody else that has an interest or plays a role in youth development and development of young people, should be brought, and then part of the youth policy integrated as the integrated youth strategy translates all of that in its adopted strategy as of 2022.
Thank you so much. Honourable Spies.
Good afternoon, Mr. Masilela. I'm Eleanor Spies and I'm a member of this committee. Mr. Masilela, in your own assessment, do you think that the National Youth Development Agency performs its mandate effectively? And if yes, how so? And if no, what are the shortcomings and what are you proposing to strengthen them? And if you can kindly at the end just provide practical examples.
Thank you very much. I think the NYDA currently does, given the budget, and optimally performs, and I think with audit outcomes, you would say there's a fairly good management and operations. But however, we believe that there should be a more rigorous lobby for other role players, particularly the JSE listed companies, because in reading one of the annual reports, the NYDA is currently in a engagement with the JSE listed companies through the JSE to have them contributing through their CSD responsibility. And I think if we can be vigorous on that aspect and put pressure in the JSE listed companies to put resources for youth development, it can broaden the impact that NYDA has on society beyond the budget available and the work that they've already done, which is good. But believing that if we bring all of those role players through the JSC, and already that engagement has been there, I think it's just a matter of emphasis and putting a bit of pressure and signing the MOUs and get that rolling, and then the companies do contribute, and then the NYDA being the role player in that, and then part of its mandate, which is coordinating private sector players and all of that. So it's a key process that can be done, and already there is signal that they want to do it, but it's just a matter of emphasis. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Honourable Spies. Honourable Peterson.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, Mr. Masilela. I'm Jasmine Peterson and I'm a member of this committee. My question to you is, in order to give effect to the mandate of the NYDA, how are you going to ensure that the NYDA, under your leadership as a board member, will consistently abide and be guided by the principles of youth development without prejudice?
I think if you read the youth policy, it is clear that and the act in combination, you will realize that you need to act in the interest of the South African people, the South African youth, in line with the constitution, and make sure that you are of service to the youths of South Africa, regardless of their race, gender, and any other form of, without being prejudiced, as you put it. So we will be able to continue to put the policies that are there, which ensure that such prejudice does not occur. And I believe that the current systems within the NYDA are efficient to that regard, but they just need to be more emphasis in ensuring that it caters especially for the more vulnerable, the people with disabilities, women, young women, and the likes, because those are the most vulnerable in society. And I think if we put more systems that will benefit those groups of youth, it will be of great stride.
Thank you so much, Honorable Kanile.
Thank you so much, Chairperson. Good afternoon, Mr. Masilela, and welcome. I'm Angel Kanyile. I'm a member of this portfolio committee. Mr. Masilela, the question that I have for you is how would you ensure good governance in the NYDA agency if recommended for appointment to the board?
Sorry, can you repeat that one?
How would you ensure good governance in the NYDA if you are recommended for appointment to the board?
Okay. Thank you very much. Obviously, thank you very much. I think one of the key things is to put emphasis on making sure that the committee of audit and risk and the internal audit plays significance, because I believe that one of the key issues of clean governance is to make sure that you are able to foresee possible financial or whatever challenges that may confront the institution. And we believe that the committee called the Audit and Risk, and obviously the reports that come from internal audit, will be able to ensure that such it's seen in focus as it comes. But the elements of good governance include that there should be credibility, there should be a clean governance in as far as even the institution itself, the corporate nature of the institution should reflect the clean governance and inculcate a culture of credibility within the institution, and also inculcate a culture of reporting, that all the structures that are in committees and all of that, they are able to report, so that the board is always in line with the daily operations of the institution and is able to mitigate whenever there are possible risks that may occur, and be able to ensure that the institution is as credible as possible.
Thank you so much, Dr. Leklape.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, sir. I'm Khosi Leklape, an alternate member of the board. Just continuing on the question of governance. What are the key attributes of an NYDA board member? And what, in your own understanding, are the roles and responsibilities of the board? And in pursuance of the roles and responsibilities of the board, we have the situation where in our act we have a CEO and we have an executive chair. What would be issues about ensuring that that relationship is properly governed?
Thank you very much. And I think the PFMA truly distinguished that how that relationship should be covered. And in this instance of the NYDA, you would have the board accountable to the minister, and of course the CEO accountable to the board. And the board would from time to time receive reports through its committees, which speak to the work of the CEO, and how the board then relates with the CEO is how it makes the CEO accountable in the processing of those reports that would have been submitted through its committees, through the work that is being done by the executive authority. And then we believe that out of that, we'll be able to make this, the executive, particularly the CEO, accountable as a board. And whenever there are issues that we believe that needs proper accountability and clarity on, the board through its committees will make such processing and make sure that there is accountability. But what is important is that as from the key performance areas that would have been agreed upon the appointment of the CEO by the board, those should be the guiding, the guideline or framework upon which the CEO is held accountable. Thanks.
Just on the last one about the attributes of a board member, what type of people should we be having as board members?
The type of people that hold management to account. In my other life as a board member, I would have joined. I'm a board member of Mpumalanga Economic Growth Agency for the past 4 years. One of the key attributes that we do, and we are always reminded of, and in our minds, is that a board member must never let wrong things slide because of whatever interest. And as such, a board member must always declare themselves when conflicted. And one of the things that I've learned over the years is that being diligent with your work, it improves the quality of the board members and the quality of the work that the board carries out. Hence, you see a significant improvement with such. So one of the key attributes indeed is that of being honest, diligent, and committed to the work, and being accountable, and being able to process reports as it relates to the board committees and the work that is thereof, and being able to take decisions, even if it means not being popular within the other board members, but being able to stand on your views and being able to declare, even when a decision that is being taken you feel strongly that it's wrong. There is precedence in this country that we are allowed to signal yourself, single yourself out in whenever a decision that is wrong or you don't agree to, you are able to be allowed as a board member. So some level of independence is important as it relates to decision making in a board.
Thank you so much. Let's go to Honourable Megan. Honourable Tsotetsi.
Thanks, Chair. And good afternoon to our candidate. Look like we would have mentioned with other candidates who are doing well. Let's start by appreciating the work that you would have articulated earlier on as the work that you are doing in your foundation. It's quite exciting that a number of young people do take such initiatives to better the lives of other young people. I just have this small question, this very short question. Who am I? No, my name is Tiamo Tsotetsi, a member of this board. Thank you, Honorable Chauke, for a member of this committee. And earlier on, I would have noted Dr. Letlape making the very same mistake. and my apology, I'm a member of this committee. Just a short question. May you kindly elaborate your understanding of the integrated youth development strategy, and why do you think the strategy is important?
Thank you very much. I think my understanding of the integrated youth development strategy is that it seeks to be a framework that wants to integrate or coordinate the work of youth development in its entirety in the country. Obviously linked to the youth development policy, and of course the National Development Plan. But however, there are key 5 areas of priority that I think are of interest, which is education, skills, training, and giving second chance to people who would have been fallen out of the 12 years of school. It also the issue of social cohesion, which I believe is very important. And thirdly, it is the issue of economic transformation and job opportunities and entrepreneurship, which seeks to elevate young people and put them into workplace and giving them economic opportunities. And of course, the issue of social cohesion being the one of bringing together NGOs and all other role players that are interested in youth development to be coordinated. And then of course the machinations of coordinating that work. The integrated youth development strategy makes a number of proposals insofar as advancing youth development in this country. In fact, I believe from where I'm sitting, it is one of the best strategies that seeks to deal with the issues that affect youth development in this country. I believe it's one of the anchor strategies that needs to be thoroughly used. There are proposals that are made there on how to advance the strategy in the document, and I believe that if they can be followed through, most of them and all of them, there could be a greater improvement in youth development. For example, it calls for professionalization of youth development as a skill or as a practice, and not just another informal way of development. So that is my comprehension of the integrated youth development strategy. Thanks.
Thank you, Honorable Chauke Adwinas.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, and good afternoon to our candidate. We do thank you for availing yourself and wishing you all the best. My name is Tsegofatso Megan Chauke Adonis. I am a disabled member of this Portfolio Committee on Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities. My question to you would be focusing on the integrated youth development strategy. What if you can identify or list the identified youth groups that have been identified in the integrated youth development strategy? Also, within the strategy, what are some of the interventions that are proposed to address the key areas of concern?
Thank you very much, Honorable Adonis. I think one of the key proposals and target groups that are identified are people living with disabilities. Identified there amongst the issues is that there should be, there is a limitation of, there's a limit of special schools, and then there's a proposal that the schools that are available should be able to provide facilities that will enable people living with disabilities to be able to access the current schools that are there, and also that schools should be able to provide accessibility for people with disabilities, avail Braille as a part of the general lessons in school, and also get sign language to be part of some of the SABC programs in order to enable employment for most of the people who are able to communicate in sign language, and make it part of the curriculum. Those are the problem of the interventions that are mentioned in one of the targeted groups, being people living with disabilities. And then, of course, young women, there are interventions there in different kinds of interventions that they should be targeted economic opportunities that are set aside for women in rural communities, be it in agriculture, those who are engaged in cooperatives and all of that. So those are some of the targeted groups that are identified. Of course, the vulnerable youth, that are those that who went to prisons, who are former convicts, who are being integrated back to society. Those are some of the targeted groups that the integrated youth development strategy says the NYDA has a responsibility to cater for, and then make sure that they are part of society, because they are more vulnerable than the other groups that or the generalization of the youth. They are more vulnerable, and they should be more focused in making sure that they are uplifted and development reaches their level. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Mabel.
Thank you very much, Chair. Mr. Masilela, good afternoon, sir.
I'm Honorable Khotana, also a member of this committee. I'll just go straight to the question. Mr. Masilela, how does limited access to technology affect youth in South Africa? And what role can technology play in addressing social issues among youth in South Africa?
Thank you very much. I think it cuts a bit across to the issues I propose as I raised earlier. But the issue is that the South African youth does not afford technology as it is now, because technology has a price in South Africa. And we believe that as part of South Africa contributing positively and strongly to the issue of artificial intelligence, we need to make sure that the South African youth has access to digital platforms. And we believe that as part of CSD, as one of the proposals we say we should be able to carry out, is to engage these big corporations that are network providers in the country to be able to give zero-rated to some of the websites. For example, if one wants to apply at the university, wants to apply for NSFAS, wants to apply for any academic or any positive, which is something that is not related to playful or engagements or links that are not related to educational exercise, should be available at a zero-rated so for our people, because at least most of our people living in the rural areas, even though they have access to cell phone towers or cell phone networks, they still have a challenge of affordability. But at least they could be using the centers that are available in the townships and villages, and the more that should be brought to access that internet and access those websites, that will be of intervention to their educational needs and be able to contribute now to the bigger question of development, because it does not assist for us as a country to speak about artificial intelligence when the most vulnerable, the youth and the women, don't have access to basic networks. So we need to start it there. Then we can speak about how then does it respond to the development of this country, because artificial intelligence, the reality is that it's part of us, and most universities and most people are already using it, and it's part of us, and it's all about how do we bring along those who are in the rural areas and townships to be able to be integrated without them feeling a financial contribution to the effect, but those who are part of the service providers using their corporate social investment to that effect. I think it will be of great assistance, and later on we'll be able to pray the fruits of that artificial intelligence broadly benefiting us as part of youth development.
Thank you. I think before you speak, Honourable Lonzi, I just wanted to clarify maybe where Honourable Lonzi was going with his question. The NYDA Act stipulates that when we consider candidates to serve on the NYDA board, they should, on the one hand, have knowledge and expertise in youth development, or a qualification in youth development, social development issues. So it's an either-or scenario. Either you've got the experience and the knowledge and the track record, or you hold the qualification in social development, HR, legal field, anything that can really advance the interests of the NYDA. Now, you hold a matric certificate, you hold a national diploma in journalism from the Tshwane University of Technology, which you obtained in 2021. You signed a declaration confirming that information. We also have a letter from the institution confirming that you met all the criteria for the qualification, but they were not able to verify your qualification. So just for clarity, just a clarity-seeking question maybe, what challenges arose between yourself and the university that they were not able to verify your qualification?
Thank you very much. I think I'm part of the statistics of South Africans that don't afford certain fees. So I owe fees to the Tshwane University of Technology, which I'm in the process of finalizing. And that's the reason that why the university could not give me. So I'm just another South African youth who can't afford fees.
That is just the clarity that I was seeking.
Thank you very
Because
much.
that is the information. I just wanted to give you an opportunity
Thank you.
to give us that information. Thank you. Over to you, Honourable Lonzi.
Chair, that point you are making now needs me a follow-up clarity before I go to my question. Because you are saying he signed a declaration confirming that he got his diploma in 2021, when his CV is saying he got his diploma in 2011. Perhaps when I ask my other questions, you can clarify it then in the end you can.
Yeah,
You can
I
come
think
in.
he indicated that it was a typo. I think all of us made mistakes.
2011 and 21, it was an error.
Or it was a typo on the
Yes.
declaration.
Not declaration, the CV.
On the CV.
Well,
The declaration says 2021.
Yes.
University says 2021.
And I did
No,
say
the
that.
declaration.
Yes.
All right. No, thank you, Chair. No, thank you very much, Mr.
Chair,
Melusi.
but can I also just raise a point of concern? You see, what the exercise which the honourable member is making now, we have done it earlier on with other candidates, but the distinct thing is that we would have done it in committee without them being there, because it has capacity to derail people and so forth. So I thought that I must just bring that up.
Yes.
Thanks.
No, I agree with you. That's why I wanted him to just tell us what the challenges are, because I think he's, like he says, he's one of the many in South Africa, many young people who could not afford to, I mean, there are many young people who've got outstanding fees, and I wanted, because I think, you know, we don't want a situation where he's accused of something, but I think the matter is clarified, so I want him to be able to proceed in a manner that's fair to all of us and him. But your concern is noted, Honourable Member. Please proceed, Honourable Lonzi.
No, I won't respond to that concern, Chair. So in 2024, Mr. Masilela, the NYDA Amendment Act introduced a new function in the agency's mandate. What is that function? I'm looking for the specific function that was introduced. I mean, that's 2024, so it's not very long ago. You wouldn't need to read far. And perhaps, how did that new function, which was introduced by the amendment, empower the NYDA in its ability to oversee and coordinate some of its programs? Thank you.
I think, thank you very much, Honorable Lozi. I think one of I think, if I'm not mistaken, it is that of coordinating government sectors and formally now government sectors and all the other youth development structures. I think it's encapsulated in the integrated youth development strategy, but obviously as per the Amendment Act, which is that of bringing together now national youth development into one roof. And I think that's what the NYDA Act, the amendment seeks to speak to, so that there is no confusion about the mandate of the NYDA, which is that of bringing together everybody and coordinating them and initiating programs for the youth of this country, for youth development.
Chair, maybe let me explain it differently, which is what I did with under candidates to help them. So there were 6 functions of the NYDA Act. Yeah. Then there was a 7th one, very specific function, which was introduced last year in 2024. It's not what you had mentioned before, but because even with other candidates, when they didn't get the answer, I came in to ask it differently. So I'd ask the question again. From 6, there's an additional function which has been added after the amendment in 2024, close to the end of the year last year. Are you aware of what that function is, and how did it assist the NYDA in better overseeing and coordinating its programs?
I would think that it is, I would think that I would have to really be referred back. I'm not quite sure what is that exact function, because I would have thought that it relates to coordination and all of that, but it seems it's not the case.
All right. No, thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Lonzi. Can I ask if there are any follow-up questions from honourable members? Honourable Chalke Aduenas, followed by Honourable Lonzi. Then Honourable Tsiama. So we'll take the two there. We'll come to Honourable Spies and then to Honourable Lonzi.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I think my follow-up question, and also just appreciating your participation in this process. My follow-up question would just be in terms of your understanding and your contribution. And I think one would want to have very key targeted focus areas of how you seek to ensure that the NYDA improves its reach and its visibility amongst the young people, but also how are you going to, or how would you propose to integrate the utilization of innovation and technology in this? Thank you.
Thank you. I think I would have mentioned in passing again that I think for me the cause for concern is that NYDA must be felt in the palm of a rural youth, the township youth. And I think the best accessible youth, a way to access the youth in the townships and in the rural areas would be, of course, to partner with traditional leaders who have run through traditional authorities, through COCTA, because they've got tribal offices almost everywhere. SASA through social development, they have offices almost everywhere, Post Bank, so that we use those spaces to bring about, reach out to their outreach programs, of course, of the NYDA, go there, if possible, establish offices or mobile offices in those areas to make sure that it is accessible to the youth there. And of course, the technological or technological advance expansion that needs to reach out to the youth in rural areas will, of course, to be the one that I proposed earlier, which is to say that there must be many other private sector players that are contributing to the cause, and the NYDA without using entirely its budget, be able to seek to reach out and finalize that mandate of making sure that it reaches most of the youth in this country, particularly those in the townships and the rural areas, because those are the people that really need the services of the National Youth Development Agency more than any other in our society.
Thank you so much, Honourable Tsotsi.
Yes, Chair. Yeah, no. Chair, I just have two questions. One is around the scourge of gender-based violence. You would know that this has been declared the second pandemic in the country after we had experienced one of COVID. It's still a thorny issue in our nation. It affects young people both at the receiving end as victims and as offenders. What, in your view, do you think the NYDA has to do to mitigate the problems of that the country is confronting around this thing of gender-based violence? The second one is the question of youth unemployment, which obviously is also one of the problems, very big problems that we are confronting as a country. What do you think, or how do you think the participation of the private sector in this regard is, and what do you think the NYDA can do to mitigate or at least assist in ensuring that there is integration of all sectors of the community to ensure that we at least push young people to be employed?
Thank you, Honourable Tsotet. I think on the issue of gender-based violence, it remains a serious pandemic indeed. And I think one of the immediate interventions that need to be emphasized is that the reality is that gender-based violence and femicide are committed by men, and we believe that we should, mainly men, not men, it should be that we begin to build the boy child. I think there's been programs of a boy child, because I think it's an issue of a socio-economic issue, and bring all the role players that need to coordinate all of these efforts to make sure that society also does not condone or let slide of gender-based violence, because gender-based violence happens in our communities, our families, and we sometimes let it slide, not report it, and then it becomes a continuous until many lives are lost and people are really. So I believe it's part of the things that in the integrated youth development strategy we need to emphasize on social cohesion and building a nation that really is united in fighting this pandemic. And then on the last question, I think the issue of unemployment, the reality is that can't be resolved by government alone. It needs a private sector, as you suggest. And from where I'm sitting, I believe that the only thing needed on the part of government is to put policies that speak to things that will enable creation of employment in South Africa. And I believe that from where we're sitting now, employment in South Africa is not created because industries are closed. Factories that used to produce goods and services that are utilized by our people have been closed down. And we believe that if government pushes for industrialization of the South African economy, then we'll be able to have private sector investing into the South African market and be able to create jobs for our people. And we export more than import more, because currently the reality is that we're importing more and exporting very less things, goods and services. So we're a consumer nation, and we need to change that and be able to begin to have a industrialized society which creates employment, because there's no way you can create employment outside government if you don't industrialize the South African economy. And I think for me, that is one key area. And of course, through the NYDA SMMEs that would have been identified, they will be able to participate. And the young people that would have got skills and training and upskilling, they will be able to then join the job market as that program unfolds. Thanks.
Thank you. Honourable Speaks.
Thank you, Chair. I think part of my question, Mr. Masilela touched on. It's just that we've had a number of male candidates and interviewed over the past 2 days, and I don't seem to find any of the candidates really talking about the issues of positive masculinity. Which challenges traditional patriarchal, issues, and also encourages men to have, respect, to have boundaries, to show emotion. I would like to know, just from you, what do you think as a board member you would do in terms of prioritizing the challenges that young men have putting into society and that could contribute to positive masculinity, and in turn then also assist us in the whole gender-based violence crisis that we have? Just your view personally.
I think, thank you very much for the question. I think it's very important, and I think it's our societies. I think we grow up being told not to cry, not to feel pain, not to show pain as men, and as a result, maybe perhaps bottling up a number of things and taking out on the people we believe we say we love. I think for me it's an ECD matter, and it's a family matter. And you can't just say it's a family matter, because there are people without families, and they are part of our society. Now, I bring the element of ECD because I believe that from early childhood, one needs certain social interventions for one to make up a human being, let alone being a man. And for me, it's not even about whether you grow up without a father figure or parents, or I think it's a societal issue of patriarchy and respecting the next gender and the next person, which are two juxtaposed issues: respecting the next person, respecting the next gender. Combined, that is humanity. To say we respect the life of humans, then there's no reason for you to go ahead killing a person, abusing them, and all of that. I think on a general scale, men are set by different standards from the rest of everybody. And as a result, in trying to meet those standards, then they try to be these characters that in turn sometimes are violent and all of that. And I think it's a societal discussion, ongoing. There's no single dynamic to explaining it. But for me, I just feel that we need to begin a process of saying patriarchy has created men or boys who later become men to be sort of inferior of themselves, and then how they become inferior over the years, over the time. They're taken out in their frustration of inferiority in different ways. And I think that's how it plays it out. It plays itself out. And I think we've got a greater responsibility in leadership to make sure that we become an example of making sure that such is reflected upon, and there is some form of guidance, partnering with all the social partners to make sure that as part of social cohesion, the boy child is better positioned to behave well-mannered. Thank you.
No, thank you very much again, Chairperson. My name is Sihle Lonzi, member of the Portfolio Committee deployed by the Economic Freedom Fighters. I'm only repeating it because I think Mr. Swello said Lozi, so just trying to assist him to not forget. Thank you very much. Chair, I've got a very quick question, and then I think that will be it for me for the day. Mr. Swello, you say you are in your CV, you are a Treasurer General of the African National Congress Youth League from July 2023 until current. But where I'm going is that in 2016 until 2023, again in your CV, you say you were a senior researcher at Mbombela Municipality, Nelspruit in South Africa. Now, it would have made sense to me if you had completed your diploma in 2011, but you have since clarified it to us that you in fact completed it in 2021. So it means you would have been a senior researcher for 5 years without a post-matric qualification. My question to you is, if we were to appoint you, recommend you, and the president were to appoint you to lead the NYDA, would you appoint or employ someone without a post-matric qualification to be a senior researcher in any process or department within the National Youth Development Agency? Because you were a senior researcher and earned a senior researcher salary for 5 years without a post-matric qualification. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that question. No, I think I would not do that. Maybe I must maybe the question should have been, what is the circumstance that led to that? Because I did not apply for a post of senior researcher. Because the problem, I had to put the CV accurately to the fact of the positions I occupied, because I didn't want to mislead anybody. Now, what would have happened in the instance, I never applied to be a senior researcher chair. I applied to be a PA and working in the office of the chief whip in the municipality there. Now, because I was deployed in a political office, there was movement. They just placed me as a senior researcher. I could not say, no, I don't qualify. They placed me. They did what they call placement. And then they placed me as a senior researcher. For that matter, for 2 years, I spent that 2 years without being given proper functions in that responsibility. And that was my problem. It was the problem of the municipality. I'm on record complaining about those attributes. And so it was never my making, Chair, that I applied for a post that I knew that I don't qualify for. It was the making of the institution which frustrated me at that particular time. And I had issues with it at that time. Now, it was not me. It was just an issue of placement. Because if you were to check, it was just the same institution that I worked in. It was not like I moved to another department, to another institution. I still worked within the same institution. So that was the reality. It was a frustration for me, and I had to enjoy that, and that was it. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much. No, I think he's clarified that, Honourable Lonzi. I think we need to move to closure.
I said I would not hire a person of a similar circumstance because they would have applied, not like in my instance who has not applied. I applied for a particular post which met the criteria and the qualifications that I had, and I responded. And later on, as in the employment, they placed me wrongly, and which was an issue for 2 years. I'm explaining that I was not given functions and responsibilities, but I was given a title, and I can't mislead you here and use another title that I was not given to you, which will be misleading as well. Yes, not me.
Yeah, it's clarified that. Thank you so much. Honourable, I saw your hand was up. Are you covered?
Yes, yes.
Are you fully covered?
Thank you very much, Chair. Mr. Masilela, tell me, how does your accession to the board will help to enhance the idea that the NYDA is now depoliticized and free from political interference? And also, how will you resolve the issue of conflict of interest and biasness to the organization you belong to and its members? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think the new act of was amended last year speaks to the fact that when one is conflicted, needs to declare, and when they don't, the decisions of such a meeting are null and void. I think it would be consistent of myself as a member of a particular political party to make sure that I'm consistent with declaring my interest, just like any other interest, by the way, of any other person, even in civil society and other organizations, to declare if there is an interest or association thereof. And I think as per the guidelines of the Act, the governance, and all the other statutes that govern boards and how you conduct yourself. And I think I've been serving in a board for the past 4 years, Chair. I've never been accused of being biased to a particular, and the same board that I serve more or less has the same mandate as NYDA, because we disperse loans. I serve in the Mpumalanga Economic Growth Agency. We disperse loans, we manage a number of other issues. We operate under a budget of just over 2 billion. So I've never been accused or linked to any sort of misdemeanor relating not to or showing biasness to my political affiliation, because as a South African, I've got every right to be associated to my political convictions and so on. So I believe that I will continue to carry to the best of my ability my constitutional obligation, which is to defend South Africa first, and for South Africa to be the priority, and the youth of this country and youth development in particular.
Thank you so much for that. I wanted to ask whether, Mr. Masilela, whether you wanted to say anything in closing to the honourable members.
No, nothing much in closing. I just to thank the opportunity to be given to come and just to be shortlisted, and also to come and be asked the questions. I think it was robust, and I think it was important that we be asked all the questions because we are going to be accountable to the South African population, of course, through this committee, of course, and the minister. So it's very important that we are known to be what we are, and you ask the difficult questions as a committee, and we appreciate that. And I think I've represented the people that I come from, my village there. I think it was of a significant impact, the fact that there is one of them coming in Cape Town representing their views, because like I've said, that I'm just like any other South African who owes fees, whereas every other youth problems. So I believe I represent a true youth and a true South African youth, and the realities that are faced by the South African young people in this country. Thank you very much again for the opportunity. Much appreciated.
Thank you so much, Mr. Masilela, and on behalf of the committee, we convey our gratitude for your time, for your insights, for sharing your knowledge with us this afternoon, and then also for making the time to be with us. And thank you also for your willingness to serve. I think you already know what follows from here. We still have one more day of interviews tomorrow. And from there, the Portfolio Committee will next week deliberate on all the interviews. We will then compile a report which will serve in the National Assembly, where all honourable members of the House, all 400, will vote on that report. Our 10 suggestions will then be given to the President of the Republic, whereafter he will exercise his rights and nominate 7 young people to serve on the next NYDA board. We wish you all the best. Continue to do the good work that you are doing. Travel back safely. And thank you again. Thanks a lot.